Testing out the live stream. First time I'm doing this in quite a long time, actually. But I figure, what better way to do it than after this just miserable game as there about a minute left, and I'm gonna go ahead and shut that off. Let me go ahead and check out this on the YouTube side. Make sure that we're live. Let me pull it up on my phone here.
We'll track the price of you so you can decide when to book.
I got something to tell you guys. Guess what? It's a app called Vigo Live.
Who do we got here? We got Herro Gill. Gill, talk to me, man. How we feeling? I kind of wanted to come here. Oh, that sound good. All right, so like I said, I'm just gonna repeat again here. I'm kind of just testing out this live stream thing here. I usually live stream over at the Basement Sports Network. I was gonna do that tonight, but I don't think they're streaming tonight over there. So I just kind of wanted to come over here and talk to you. I see my guy Jose Matos. How you doing, my guy? And I had a whole video planned out. I was gonna talk about the game like I usually do, right? But then as the Heat started getting blown out in that third quarter, I said, you know what? I'm gonna make a video basically titled "The Miami Heat are broken. This is how to fix it," right? And I kind of came up with this trade idea that I talked about in yesterday's podcast. If y'all didn't see, what's going on, everyone? Welcome in. I'll just keep talking a little bit, give everyone some time to get in here. But I do want to hear from y'all. So if y'all would like to, how do I put comments up here? Pin. I don't really know how to add comments and that stuff. Usually I use StreamYard when we're on the Basement Sports Network. Uh, anyways, can I put a pin message? Got some pin comments up there. Okay, anyways, yeah, but I talked about in my podcast yesterday on the Believe in Miami Heat, basically saying that the Heat maybe can make a move for Terry Rozier and add in a Lowry marketing, something like that, and really kind of solidify this team. I think that'd be two very nice upgrades and kind of put them into contention. Now, I was gonna wait some time before I made a full video on it, kind of addressing that and getting into the breakdown and stuff. But as the Heat started getting blown out today in that third quarter, I said, you know what? I'm gonna post that video today. Eventually thinking the Heat were gonna make some sort of comeback. That never happened, and honestly, I'm very annoyed. And I have no doubt that the rest of the Heat fans are annoyed. That's kind of why I wanted to get on here and talk to y'all, a lot of y'all. And I got a few comments on my last video, and I actually had people reaching out to me saying that, basically saying they would love to come and talk to me about this Heat team because they're just as annoyed as I am. So I'd love to hear from y'all. So I want to put up something basically saying where you can contact me at, because I was gonna say that you can hit me up on IG at Anthony D_Heat. But I don't see how to add that here. Like I was saying earlier, for the people that is just tuning in, I've never streamed off of YouTube itself before. Usually I use StreamYard, which is the Basement Sports Networks. But I don't think they're going live today over there. Let me read some of these comments. Haroon Gill said, "Bro, we suck." That's an understatement. We're terrible. I was gonna curse. I don't want to curse early. It's too early in this video. We waited. He also said, "Wait days just for the game, and we get smoked." That's how the last few have been, unfortunately. You had the blowout versus the Raptors, and then you had the last game versus the Hawks. So we're all excited for UD night, and then they go ahead and get embarrassed. It's pretty pitiful. Pimpoy Speed Edit said, "Trade them all." That's exactly how I felt about the Miami Dolphins when that season was over. What's going on, y'all? Welcome in here. My guy Brendan. I see the guy Brendan Bingham in the comments. Absolute hooper. Let me see some of these other ones. Haroon Gill, our team is broken. Pimpoy said, "Let's have a podcast." There will be a podcast episode on this later on. Terrence said, "Let's go. Yes, time to trade for some help." Yeah, so for everyone here that's just tuning in, I have a video that I was going to post tonight, but I wanted to give some of y'all a chance to come in here and talk and share your thoughts. I thought it would be easier. I'm trying to look and talk at the same time. This is sort of just my test for everyone that's in here. This is me testing how to use the YouTube. I don't know how this works. How to use the YouTube live stream. I should have just set it up through StreamYard, but like I said, I didn't know if the basement was using that tonight. But anyways, I had a trade idea video for Terry Rozier and Lowry marketing because this team needs help. They're broken, right? And that's kind of how I'm going to start that video. Is this Heat team is broken. I don't think that's a an overstatement, right? Because you can look at them and say, oh, they're still over 500. They're still what? 5 games over at this point. Now that they lost 3 straight, you could still say, oh, they're only 2 spots back of 4. You could still say, oh, they didn't make any moves the last couple of years, and they were still in the NBA Finals. You could still say all that, right? But when you watch this Heat team, they just look like they don't give a crap anymore. They got tonight versus the Magic specifically. They got out hustled for every loose ball, not moving the ball on offense, a ton of turnovers because of sloppiness, and just absolutely not caring when they touch the ball. They don't care. And that's the concerning part for me. That's why when I say that this team is broken, I don't think that's an overstatement because they look like they legitimately don't care anymore. And for a team that's coming off back-to-back losses that you think would care, when you got a team like the Knicks that you fight in for position with, just traded for OG Anunoby, they're playing amazing. You got a team like the Pacers who were playing great, just added Pascal Siakam. They're trying to go for it. And yet there's no sense of urgency from this Miami Heat team, and that part's concerning to me. And I think it gets to a point in a build where you had the same group of guys together for so long that they just start to get tired of each other. And that's the same thing we saw last year. And then what did everyone say? Didn't make a trade. But remember, they did get to the buyout market. They got Kevin Love. And everyone to a T said Kevin Love was huge. He was critical in helping out the locker room. One guy, Kevin Love, made that big a difference? I think so. Because you get so stagnant, you get such in the rhythm of things when you have the same group of guys. And when guys get tired of each other, you just start not caring anymore. And this team needs a major overhaul. We're going into, what is this, the 4th or 5th year? It's the 5th year with the Tyler, Jimmy Bam build era. Now, it's been good. It's been fine. But you need some improvements. You got to improve over that because this team has had absolutely no fight tonight. Let me look over some of these comments here. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Just trying this out. So if it's a little sloppy, I have not done the YouTube live thing in quite some time. Let me read some of these comments here. We got my boy Jose said trade all the roster for the Magic roster and play all under Spo. Can you imagine? I mean, I was going to say also, too, we might not want to overreact over one game because the Magic are a very good team. They're only 3 games above 500 right now, but they don't match, or excuse me, the Heat don't match up well with them because they got 1,000 7-footers. I mean, you talk about that starting lineup with Franz and Paulo and Wendell. My God, is that team big? Pause. And we know that he are very small, right? And then you say you come off the bench, you got Jonathan Isaac, who I'm shocked was healthy. I didn't even know was healthy. And you got Mo Wagner, one of the best bigs in the league. They're a tough matchup for the Heat, right? And then you could have made an excuse after the Raptors game and said, oh, that's just one of the few times a year where another team gets hot, right? I'm not going to blame the Heat for that. The Raptors shot like 60% from 3. I'm not going to get mad at that, right? But then you had the next game versus the Hawks. They had all the incentive to win that game. Coming off a loss, the Hawks have no Trae Young. It's Udonis Haslem night. Everyone's there. You have all eyes on you. Pat Riley and Alonzo Mourning and Dwayne Wade and Goran Dragic and my friend Mario Chalmers and Jason Williams. And everyone was there, right? And then you come out with a pitiful 4th quarter performance and lose that game. You say, hey, going across the state to Orlando Magic, got a bunch of young kids on the team. We lost 2 in a row. Our whole team is primarily healthy. We got the 3 top guys. Let's go in there and have a solid performance. Come in that 3rd quarter, got embarrassed. I don't think it's coincidence. And like I said, if you get blown out, you get blown out. But to not even show any fights, that's the embarrassing part. Let me know y'all thoughts down below. Keep commenting. I'm gonna go ahead and read a lot of these comments and we'll talk. So feel free to share your thoughts. We got Tana Banana who said this next 2 weeks are going to be big for them. They need changes now. I certainly agree. I mean, I was going to say the next month until the trade deadline. Ladies and gentlemen, the trade deadline is February 8th. That's a lot shorter than a month away. That's still about 3 weeks away. It's coming up quicker than you think. So I certainly think so. That's coming to one of the common comments I got on my post-game video against the Hawks is everyone said, it sucks that we lost on UD night. But if anything, maybe this is going to give the Heat some, like, it's going to let the front office see, oh, maybe we should make a move for DeJounte Murray. Oh, this team isn't done, right? And that whole kind of mindset of, oh, let's continue to lose, let's get worse so we can kind of force the front office to make moves. That's kind of the same mindset I always had with the Miami Hurricanes and the Miami Dolphins because those franchises suck. They are bad. They don't know what they're doing. This Heat team, Growing up, I had faith in them that they knew what they were doing. I didn't think they'd get fooled, right? But let's look at the recent let's look at the recent off seasons. I mean, we can even go back to that post 30 and 11 team, right? That Heat team sucked with James Johnson, Deion Waiters, all that. They started 11 and 30, second half of the season 30 and 11. And what do? They give 4-year deals to James Johnson, and they overpaid Tyler Johnson, and they overpaid Deion Waiters and all those other guys. And that set this franchise back farther than you may think, because they had to trade first round picks to offload Tyler Johnson. They couldn't make no moves in free agency when LaMarcus Aldridge wanted to come here and Kevin Durant wanted to come here. Signing those terrible long-term deals set them back very far, right? The Heat got fooled. Now you go into this past season, right? The Heat were in 8th seed. A lot of the more pessimistic Heat fans are saying, oh, the front office can't be fooled no more. They didn't make no moves this previous offseason. Well, now they see we suck, just like we told y'all they suck. But then the team goes on a miraculous run to the NBA Finals. Now, I'm sitting here struggling as a Heat fan because I don't want to say, oh, that was just a lucky run to the finals. That was an outlier, because they've been to 3 out of the last 4 Eastern Conference Finals, 2 out of the last 4 NBA Finals. So if anything, it's not an outlier. But at the same time, I can't sit here and tell you that you can rely on being an 8th seed every year and get into the NBA Finals, because they were one Max Strus explosion away in the playing game versus Chicago Bulls from missing the playoffs entirely, right? So it's struggling for me as a Heat fan. But regardless, you think the front office would have looked at that and said, hey, we were an 8th seed. We made it to the NBA Finals. Imagine if we did make some moves to help kind of solidify us in this rapidly growing and improving Eastern Conference. But no, they did nothing. And they start this season pretty decent. They're probably thinking to themselves again, hey, we don't got to do nothing at the trade deadline. There's the joke about TLTTAR. They like their team, accept reality. But maybe it's true. But us Heat fans are sitting here and watching every night and seeing that this team just does not care anymore. They don't care about the regular season. And I think the front office is fine going into the playoffs as a 7th or 8th seed and hoping they can pull off some miraculous run to the finals again. And I'm not sure that's sustainable. I think you're playing with fire when you do that. And they got to make some moves, in my opinion. And that's why I want to do this live stream, because I think a lot of people agree. And I want to hear what y'all think. Thank y'all for tuning in. Just want to repeat again, as I'll do many times. This is my first time live streaming on the YouTube platform, so I don't have all the bells and whistles and stuff. Just appreciate y'all. We'll try to upgrade the whole thing. I usually live stream on the Basement Sports Network. I want to shout out to them again. I usually do the post games over there when I got time. But just because I've had a lot of Heat fans comment recently saying they want to share their thoughts with me, I figure what better time to share their thoughts than after a pitiful loss. So make sure y'all comment down below. I'm gonna get through some of these comments here. We got a comment. Let me see what I missed here. My guy Jose says, I agree, this roster is over. Mr. 81 says trade for Miles Turner. That is something I would have loved years ago, because you talk about a perfect, they all say the perfect 4 next to Bam. Bam is an amazing 5. I do think he can play 4, and this team has had success when Bam's played 4 in the past. They always put him next to some slow, immobile center like Kelly Olynyk or Myers Leonard. Why not put him next to a guy like Miles Turner, who can actually guard the bigger guys in the league, so Bam doesn't have to get in foul trouble and all that stuff. And you don't have to worry about spacing, because obviously Myers Leonard could shoot, Kelly Olynyk could shoot, but they couldn't play defense or rim protect like Miles Turner would. That's a guy that I really wanted in the past, but obviously the Pacers are all in now, so that's not realistic. They wouldn't really trade him. Let me see what else I got here. Irwin says trade Herro, Lowry, Martin, Jovic now ASAP. That's how a lot of Heat fans are starting to feel. There was a pretty big divide amongst Heat fans this whole year about, well, there will always be a divide about Tyler Herro. You either hate him or you love him. For some reason, he's the most polarizing player in like recent Heat history. I have a whole rap about it. You can check it out. But it does seem like as every day passes and as every loss comes, a lot of Heat fans are more on the trade everyone got or wagon. Because I've had a lot of trade videos this year, and they've pretty much all included Nikola Jovic. And the top comment that I get is, oh, Jovic is untouchable. We can't trade him. He's going to be so great in a few years and all this stuff. And I agree. Jovic has shown the tools that he will be an amazing player in this league, I think, for a very long time. 6'10", could handle, shoot, do all that stuff. I get it. But you got to pick a timeline. Do you want to win with Jimmy Butler, or do you want to win in the future? Because I don't think you can half-ass it, because that's how you end up with 0 rings altogether, right? And I also want to remind those Heat fans that were against trading Nikola Jovic. There was a time where we said Tyler Herro was untouchable. But a lot of times is with any fans of any team, because it's human nature, you fall in love with your assets and you overvalue them more than other teams do, right? And that's what we did with Tyler Herro. We saw him have 37 in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I was with everyone else, future all-star, can't trade him, building block of the future. But then you realize defenses figure out those young guys, and they're not all that we hype them up to be, because they're our guys. We love them. And now you have here where I'd say most Heat fans, more than not, are saying they would trade Tyler Herro because they see that he's actually not all what we thought he would be. And sometimes you got to sell high if you want the most value. I think trading Nikola Jovic now is not necessarily selling high, because obviously he's like 20, he's not at his best, but it's as selling high as it'll be in the short term, if that makes sense. While he's still young and raw and has just enough playing time to get teams interested, but not enough playing time for other teams to see he's not ready right now. Because Nikola Jovic is not ready now. He can't stop missing layups. The defense has improved, but it's still a hit or miss. And I just would trade him now while the value is high enough. Sometimes if you're going to trade a guy, sell high. Look what the Raptors, they could have got 3 first-round picks for OG Anunoby last year, 3 or 4. You had teams like the Pelicans and the Grizzlies bidding against each other. They held on to him and ended up with no picks, Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett, and that's it. I even go back to the Heat when they could have traded Gabe Vincent and Max Strus, because those Heat teams were struggling last year when they were obviously under 500. You had teams that would have gave you a first-round pick for Gabe Vincent. You had teams that would have gave you a first-round pick for Max Strus. The Heat held on to them, lost them for nothing, except Max Strus was technically a sign and trade, so they got a second-round pick, right? But imagine if you did trade those guys at their height. You could have had, instead of 2 tradable first-round picks, you could have had 4. And maybe you would have been in a Pascal Siakam sweepstakes. Maybe you would have been in a Kevin Durant sweepstakes, or Donovan Mitchell sweepstakes, or Damian Lillard. Maybe Dame would be on this team. And I think they'd be in a better spot. All that to say, sometimes you got to sell high. Let me see what else we got here. We got Levi Shaw saying Tyler Herro straight a fraud. Yeah, listen, I have a bad rap on Twitter as being a Tyler Herro hater, right? I'm not. I love Tyler Herro. I love what he brings to this team. And me and Royal over on The Basement, we joke all the time, that he's a high-level role player. I think there's some credence to that. And I donate Tyler Herro. I got the bobblehead up here, if y'all can see. Even though that was a gift. I didn't buy it for myself. But I think his value on this team is overstated. The great games are too few and far between, and he doesn't do enough to solidify that starting role, in my opinion. I had a whole video about the stat where whenever he scores over 20, the Heat have a losing record. The sample size was big enough where I don't think it's coincidence. And I just don't think he's a game changer. I guess that's kind of where it lies. Because even tonight, Tyler Herro, 12 points, 4-14. That is inexcusable, the way that people talk about Tyler Herro. This is the performance of a high-level role player, a guy that is probably better off coming off the bench like a Lou Williams, like a Jamal Crawford, who, by the way, are amazing players. I think Tyler Herro is an amazing player. But on this team, I think he's better off the bench. That's just kind of how I feel. We got It's Your Boy says Jimmy Bam, JJJ are untouchable. Jovic, I would be reluctant to deal more than the rest of this roster. Yeah, you see, you're kind of trying to do the thing where I think you want your cake and eat it too. You want to rebuild, but also win now. We saw the Warriors try to do that while keeping Kuminga and keeping James Wiseman for a little bit, while also trying to win with Curry and those guys. It didn't really work out. Now, I know they won a championship, but outside of a little bit of Jordan Poole, who they ended up trading anyways, right? Those young guys didn't really contribute to that run. DLP says, I need a hug, Anthony. I get it. Listen, it's tough in these streets, especially since you just had the Dolphins get eliminated in embarrassing fashion. Thought you could rely on the Heat, and they wait till now to have their most sad time of the season as we approach the trade deadline. Mr. 81 says, this Heat team reminds me of my Lakers. So inconsistent and suck. Wait, so you a Heat and Lakers fan? What's going on there? It's Your Boy says, JJJ should be the first option over Herro. Maybe my guy Jaime Jaquez, who y'all could also see over here. I have the signed autograph picture. He's also my boy. Met him for like 30 seconds. Maybe he is the MVP, because since he went down, this Heat team is struggling pretty much. I see I got a lot more people in the stream, so I just want to say once again, I'm testing out the YouTube live thing, so don't have all the bells and whistles and all that stuff. But maybe we'll try this again sometime. Just kind of wanted to rant while everyone's all Heat fans are pretty mad at this point. Let me see some of these comments here. Van Lee, love the content. Appreciate you. We got Wamando 212 saying, what do you think happened with the Heat offense? So this is something interesting, right? Because the big change last game versus the Hawks is Spo decided to bench Kyle Lowry. Now, do I want to get into a Kyle Lowry rant right now? Well, the answer is yes. Yes, I definitely do. This man, Kyle Lowry, said after the last game that, oh, I hope to be started back in the starting lineup. I hope this is just a temporary thing. He was very subtle in saying he wasn't happy with Spoelstra's decision to come off the bench. Well, Kyle Lowry, what the hell did you ever do with this franchise to start making demands like that? Besides average 2 points a game, let me do the math real quick. Kyle Lowry's getting paid $30 million a season, right? He's getting paid. He scored. Did he score tonight? If he did score tonight, that doesn't. He scored 2 points tonight. Perfect. So if you take $30 million, divide that by 2 points, I guess it's easy math. I don't know why I'm doing it. For every point Kyle Lowry scored tonight, he made $15 million this season. Let that sink in before you start talking about wanting to start for this team. Now, unfortunately, it didn't make a damn difference. To answer the question of the guy that asked, the Heat still started last game very poor, and they started this game versus the Magic very, very poor as well. So it didn't make a difference, but I don't think that means you should reinsert Kyle Lowry because it didn't work when he was there. So I at least give Spoelstra credit for trying something different because that's the least he can do, in my opinion. Jose Matos, no energy. They don't care. I agree. That's why I don't think this is an overstatement. We got my guy, Brian. How do I put this? Brian, I'm sorry. I see your super chat. I want to put it on the screen, but I don't know how to do it. If anyone here knows how to highlight a super chat and put it on the screen, let me know. Maybe you can't even do it straight. I'm like literally live streaming straight from YouTube. I'm not using any other sort of program. I probably will try that next time. This was kind of last minute. But anyways, thank you, Brian, for the $199 dono. Like that actually genuinely means a lot because I'm broke right now. So I appreciate it. I appreciate that you sending me your money. It will go to great use. Everything that I got will go back into this channel because the dream is to do this full time one day, to do some sort of YouTube commentary podcast full time one day. And I can't do that without y'all support. So I do want to ask again that y'all like and subscribe because it does help me out a lot, for real. And I appreciate y'all tuning in. But he said, meant to send my last message on super chat. Oh, it's all good, man. I got it right here. I greatly appreciate you. Let me see some of these other comments here. Miami Heat should get DeJounte Murray. Yeah, I had a whole I did post the DeJounte Murray to Miami Heat trade video a few weeks ago. And I think the package off the top of my head was like Lowry, Jovic, and 2 firsts. And Heat fans hated it, right? Because the reason I did it is because the Hawks just traded for DeJounte Murray, like last offseason. They traded 3 first-round picks. For them to go back on that, then they would need to like get something, you know, close to what they sent in return just to not be completely embarrassed. So I said, if they at least get 2 first-round picks back and Nikola Jovic, then it's, if you count Jovic as a first-round pick, then it's kind of like they're getting back exactly what they traded for Murray, and it's a bit of a wash. Plus, I think Nikola Jovic would be a great fit on that Hawks team because there are other young bigs that they got, like Onyeka Okongwu, for example, are more defensive oriented. So now you can kind of complement that with a nice offensive big in Nikola Jovic. Plus, the Hawks should rebuild in general, and I think Jovic is a nice piece to build around. But Heat fans said that was too much. It was Lowry, Jovic, and 2 firsts. Well, 2 weeks later, which is today, every Heat fan pretty much wants to trade Kyle Lowry. Nikola Jovic is out there shooting like 10%, and the 2 first-round picks aren't contributing to the team anyways. So you're essentially adding DeJounte Murray for nothing, but Heat fans didn't like that. I think a lot of Heat fans got to stop overvaluing their own players, and you have a guy like Jimmy Butler who's shown that he's capable of being the top guy to get a team to the championship. He just needs some help. I think you got to go all in on that. I really think you do. Someone else said we can't rebuild because Jimmy's on this team. I don't want to rebuild. Like I was kind of just saying, I think Jimmy Butler is a superstar because he's a big time player in big time games. And I don't think superstars just fall off of trees. I think it's very rare to get one. And when you have one, you need to do everything in your power to win around them. And I just don't think that the Heat are doing that right now. Joel said Dion Waiters didn't even fall off as bad as Lowry. Didn't he though? I don't know. Dion Waiters was out the league just a couple years later. It's your boy says, Anthony, can you post a Whopper video again? A very wise man once said, Whopper, 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 Whopper. He's a mother effing flopper. Big old booty muffin topper who's overpaid. Large fries, milkshake, extra whipped cream. Please hold the cherry because that's too healthy. Plays no D, just blames the referee. All he does is complain. And that wise man was me. If y'all haven't seen the video, it's on the Basement Sports Network Twitter, posted like a while ago, probably like a year ago at this point, and people were hating on it. And now the Basement also sent out a tweet today. Make sure y'all follow the Basement too. They basically just asked if hold on, what I see Royal hitting me up now. Okay, no. Yeah, I'm not sure if the Basement's streaming tonight. That's another reason why I'm on here. But yeah, I made the Kyle Lowry infamous Whopper video. If anyone has seen it, if not, just Google Kyle Lowry Whopper and it'll come up because 1,000 people stole the video and ripped it. Joel also says Kyle Lowry and DeJounte for DeAndre or Kyle and Lowry. Who's Kyle and Lowry? No, I think Kyle. I don't know. That tweet confused me. Jame's really that dude. I agree. Gene Constantine says, I'm still remembering the Whopper video, pure gold in my G. What's funny about that is actually we did make a remix when the Heat were in the playoffs versus Boston last year and Lowry was playing pretty well. And instead of Whopper, 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 he's a mother effing flopper. We made a nice version that was like Whopper, 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 Whopper. I would let him. No, he's a Jason Tatum stopper. I would let him date my daughter because he's so great. And after we made that positive version of the song, he sucked after that because that's what Kyle Lowry does. He sucks. What else do we got here? Levy Shaw says, I want Gallinari next to Bam if he gets bought out. So for those of y'all that are just tuning in too, my initial plan was tonight was to post. I made a podcast yesterday talking about like a Rozier and Lowry trade that could save the Heat, or Lowry Markkinen trade that could save the Heat. And I went into full detail on that, and I was gonna post that video tonight. But I figure we're all so mad. Let's go chat and rant together and kind of get all our feels out here. So, what was that coming again? Gallinari. So in the video though, I kind of have the Heat sending out a few guys, including Caleb Martin. But to replenish some of that depth, I did look at the potential buyout candidates. I got my notes out for that here, so we can kind of talk about that. And some of the buyout guys that I really like are Alec Burks from Detroit. He's only shooting 40% from the field, but he's also shooting 40% from three. So if you lose a guy like Tyler Herro in any trade, you could supplement some shooting with Alec Burks. He's a bit on the older side, doesn't fit Detroit's timeline. I could see him being a buyout candidate. Obviously, you got Gordon Hayward. Now, I don't want to speak too much about him as a buyout because I saw like a tweet by Ira basically saying that for whatever rules there are in the CBA, the Heat actually can't sign a buyout player if his current contract is above league average. I'm not smart enough with cap to understand that, but I don't think the Heat can actually get Gordon Hayward. But some of the other guys I saw was Doug McDermott, potential buyout candidate on the Spurs, just because he's a little bit older. He's 32 years old, by the way, which is crazy because I remember when he was drafted by Chicago, they called the boy Dougie McBuckets. And that's back when Chicago had those good defenses. And I thought, damn, now they got a hooper, a straight bucket. That team's going to do damage. The Heat still beat that ass every year. They ain't do shit. But Doug McDermott is 32 years old, so I guess he spent a few years in Creighton. Only playing 15 minutes a night this year and only having 6 points per game. But he's shooting 45% from three on over 3.5 attempts. So that's another guy that definitely got a strap. And if you are losing a guy like Tyler in a trade, again, you can replenish some shooting with him. Another guy that I saw is Patty Mills, who is 35 years old, but we saw him just light up the Heat a couple days ago, and he's shooting 53% from three now. He's only played a few games this year. He's only shooting 1.5 attempts per game, but we know this Heat team needs veteran point guards like that aren't getting paid $30 million, or they just need a point guard in general because the only point guard on the roster is Kyle Lowry, and he sucks. We can kind of get into this trade a little bit now that we got some more people in here. So again, I have a full video on this. But the trade that I think will save the Heat season, as I'll probably put it in the video, is the Heat getting here, let me actually go to the full trade here. Again, I wish I knew how to put graphics up, but this is my first time streaming straight from YouTube. Maybe next time I'll try StreamYard or something like that. But I have the Heat receiving Terry Rozier and Lowry Markkinen, and then the salary filler to make it work is Taylor Horton Tucker, Chris Dunn, right? And they send out Kyle Lowry and a first-round pick to the Hornets. So essentially, the Hornets are trading Terry Rozier for Kyle Lowry and a first-round pick. We'll kind of break that down first. I don't think that's a lot of value for Terry Rozier. But the reason the Hornets might do that is, one, they're a stupid organization. But two, Terry Rozier is getting paid a lot of money. He's getting paid, I got his contract up right here. He's getting paid $23 million for the rest of this year, next year, and the year after that. It's a little more, a little over 23 million, but still around that. So they essentially have big money on the books for another 2.5 seasons for a guy that's over 30 years old next season. That clearly doesn't fit the Hornets timeline. I think they'd like to get off a lot of that money and maybe pay someone who fits better with LaMelo Ball and is not as ball dominant. So I could see them wanting to get off of Rozier's contract. So they, one, get off Rozier's contract, get the expiring money of Kyle Lowry, and they get a first-round pick. Could they find better value elsewhere? Likely. But I also don't know how many teams have that big of an expiring like the Miami Heat have in Kyle Lowry. And that kind of works out in the Heat's benefit because Charlotte will not want to take on any additional money in any Terry Rozier trade. Now, the next part of this, I have the Heat getting Lowry Markkinen, and then for salary, Taylor Horton Tucker and Chris Dunn, who, by the way, Horton Tucker is kind of I remember when Lakers fans thought he was like the next greatest thing, but he kind of sucks. Like, he's not playing too much for the Jazz now, not shooting too great. But Dunn, I was about to say Kendrick Dunn. It's not Kendrick Dunn, is it? It's Chris Dunn. I was thinking of Kendrick Nunn. No, Chris Dunn was out of the league for a little bit, came back. Now he's on the Jazz, and he's playing very, very well. Now he's only played 15 games, I think, this season, but he's only 29 years old, so not too old. And he has an assist to turnover ratio of 4-1. So even though he's a bit of a throw-in for this trade, from the Jazz, obviously Lowry Markkinen is the main piece. I do think Chris Dunn, yeah, could contribute. He's obviously not a great shooter, only averaging 5 points per night. But if the Heat were to get Terry Rozier and start him next to Duncan Robinson, well, you're going to need a guard that plays some defense, and that's what Chris Dunn does. And on top of that 4-1 assist to turnover ratio, I think he'd be a nice piece. But anyways, that's just salary filler. So I have the Heat getting Lowry Markkinen, and in return, the Jazz are getting Tyler Herro, Caleb Martin, Nikola Jovic, and 2 first-round picks. Now, a lot of Heat fans I know aren't going to like that because you're sending Herro, Jovic, and 2 firsts. That's a lot of value for Lowry Markkinen. But because Pascal Siakam just got traded for 3 first-round picks and really nothing else, this value is close to that. Because you could say Herro and Jovic are like a first-round pick each. But there's different parameters here because Pascal Siakam is a better player than Markkinen, but Pascal Siakam was on the final year of his deal. So a lot of teams might be scared to trade for him because he could walk in free agency, whereas Lowry Markkinen still has the rest of this year and all of next year on his deal. So although Siakam's a better player because of the contract situations, and Markkanen's only getting paid $18 million, that's not a lot for a guy that's averaging 24 points per night and 50% from the field and 40% from 3, who's only 26 years old, mind you. So anyways, because of all that being said, I don't think sending Tyler Herro, Nikola Jovic, and Caleb Martin, who they couldn't afford, who the Heat can't afford to pay after this season anyways, I don't think that's too much value. And then I have what I've been calling the inevitable trade in which the Heat and Thunder do a little swappy swap to unlock an extra first-round pick, but that's not worth explaining this video. I wish I could put that on the screen. I'm going to figure this out. I appreciate y'all tuning in. We got a lot of people in here. And it's awesome. It's really awesome to see y'all because, like I said earlier, I really appreciate the support. And I just kind of wanted to do this today, kind of last minute, so we could all rant together. I do want to say before I start reading some of these comments, though, is the only thing that doesn't make that trade likely is the Jazz are playing a lot better than expected of late. They've won like 7 out of their last 10. They're finally above 500. So why would they want to trade Lowry Markkinen? I don't know. Like I think they might have when they sucked, because Markkinen only has one more year left on his deal after this. And if they wait till next year, his trade value won't be as high for the same reasons that I mentioned about Siakam, because he could walk in free agency. So if they were going to trade Markkinen, it would be this season. But now that they're playing so well, maybe they don't. Plus, the Jazz do have a lot of guards they like Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, Keontae George. So why would they want Tyler Herro? Same reason Portland didn't want Tyler Herro, prior to the same reason the Jazz won't either. But if the Heat, listen, this trade, that would give the Heat a starting lineup of Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson, Jimmy Butler, Larry Markkinen, and Bam. And off the bench, you could still have Jay Rich for guard depth, Jaime Jaquez for wing depth, Kevin Love, Hayward Highsmith for big depth. And like I said earlier, you could have Chris Dunn and then any of those buyout guys, Alec Burks, Doug McDermott, Patty Mills. That team will put the Heat, that trade will put the Heat in contention. I really believe that. What else do we got here? Jesus Shuttlesworth could save this season. Tell me about it, brother. Look, got the man right here. I've had this as my phone case since 2013. Now, obviously, I've had different cases throughout the years, but every time I just go on Vistaprint and get it reprinted here. What else we got here? Star Fox says I would gamble on Murray more than Levine. Yeah, Levine is a guy I would have wanted to take a swing on maybe last year, but he can't stay healthy too much, and he seems to have a lot of the same inefficiency issues that Tyler Herro does. But at the same time, and he's not a great defender. But I was gonna say, I think with his athletic ability in this Heat system, he could learn to be a really great defender. And if he can, that would make him a much better player than Tyler Herro. But that's just too much of a question mark at this point for me to want to get Zach LaVine. I like DeMar. I know I'm alone on that. Let me know down below if y'all would be in on DeMar DeRozan. People say, oh, the spacing would be bad. Man, spacing is overrated. All these guys are capable three-point shooters, enough to the point where the defense has to at least go out there to guard them enough. It's not like you're putting Rudy Gobert out there where the defense literally sags off 20 feet. If you put DeMar DeRozan in the corner, defenses are going to go out and guard him, just like they did with Jimmy Butler tonight when he hit 3 threes. So I think the spacing is a bit overrated. Plus, DeMar is a bucket, and he's a guy that you can go to late in these games. If you're going to have to settle for bad shots, get it in DeMar DeRozan's hands, who we know is capable of hitting that, instead of Tyler Herro, who gets like blocks half the time. Let me see. We got a lot of comments here. Someone says that they like Herb Jones. I love Herb Jones because the boy can play defense. But I don't think New Orleans would ever really get rid of him. Let me see what else we got here. We need a legit 5. You could be saying that about any Heat team over the last several years. We need to trade Caleb Martin, of course, because of his contract, right? Yeah, Caleb's a guy that I would hate to lose in the offseason for nothing because they can't afford to pay him, because I do think he has some sort of value because of what he did, in the playoffs last year. But at the same time, I want to win a championship this year, and I think that's the guy that you can win a championship with. But it depends if they can get other pieces in without losing him. You know what I'm saying? And that still remains to be seen. It's your boy said Lowry, J. Rich, and Caleb needs to go. I would not put J. Rich and Caleb in the same sentence as Kyle Lowry when you're talking about guys who need to go. Kyle said that Herb Jones is actually available according to the Pelicans. Well, that'd be awesome. But I think there's a lot of other teams that would fight for his services that could outpay the Miami Heat, especially if the Miami Heat are going to give up assets. I'd rather it be for someone who's more of a difference maker than Herb Jones, even though I do love Herb Jones a lot. Let me see what else we got here. I did see someone did hit me up on Instagram. If y'all want to hit me up and share your thoughts there, that's at @AnthonyD_Heat. This is from my boy Clevence Luima, who says chemistry asks Tyler plays for himself. Jimmy and Bam are passive as shit. And role players are forced to do things that they shouldn't be doing. Yeah, I had a video talking about Tyler Herro, chemistry killer, I think is what I called it, or put in the thumbnail a couple weeks ago, because he doesn't fit well in that starting lineup, especially when the alternative is Duncan Robinson. And we know that Duncan and Bam have one of the best duos. It was like the dribble handoff is one of the best plays of all time. I guess what I'm trying to say. The efficiency on that shot was on the Bam Duncan DHO was one of the most efficient shots in NBA history. It was like Kareem skyhook, Hakeem Olajuwon's dream shake, and then the Duncan Bam dribble handoff. Their chemistry is awesome. Not to mention that Duncan's made himself a more versatile scorer, a more improved defender, and I think he should be in the starting lineup over Tyler Herro, who just bing, 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 dribbles 24 seconds every time. Robin Shaw says Spanish guy was the key to the Heat success. If you're talking about Jaime Jaquez, is looking like it. Let me see if what else we got here. Someone said thumbs up, guys. Yes, please thumb up. I wish I could put the comments up here. I don't I gotta find a better streaming service to put this up. That's not StreamYard, because like I said earlier, the basement uses StreamYard. Let's see if the basement is streaming tonight. Otherwise, Royal is going to get mad that I'm working for myself and not for him. But guess what? I don't really care, Royal, because even though I signed a contract where I owe you 24 hours of the day every life. Oh wait, it looks like they went live for 2 minutes tonight. Let me see. Oh, here they played the Whopper video. Y'all want to see it?
Whopper, 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 whopper. He's a motherfucking flopper. Big ol' booty muffin topper. Who's overpaid? Large fries, milkshake, extra whipped cream. Please hold the cherry, that's too healthy. Play real deep, don't blame the rest. All you do is complain. That Riley, wake up today. Lowry, please let us trade. Fuck you.
All right. Oh, they played it twice. Yeah, that's how we doing things over here. We're doing things ratchet. I'm holding up the phone because I don't have the facilities to actually put it up on the screen. Because, like I said earlier, this is my first time streaming on YouTube. Anyways, I'm probably gonna go ahead and end this stream now. Thank y'all for tuning in. Like on some real shit. Like 63 people in here right now, 32 likes. Like that's awesome to me. Just me coming on here last minute streaming for like the first time by myself in a very long time. I tested it out a while ago. And just the fact that I'm just sitting here talking to my camera, it means a lot. So I do appreciate y'all. The last thing I want to ask is that you do subscribe, help me get to 5K. We're at like 3,400 right now. But to hit 5K, that'll be a really, really cool milestone. And your likes and shares are greatly appreciated as well. Other things I got going on is I already said, a ton. I want to shout out the Basement Sports Network again. They be doing live streams after almost every game. And I also have my podcast, Believe in the Miami Heat, which is technically with Mario Chalmers. Even though he's been busy for like the last year. But of course, subscribe to the channel because I'm posting all Miami Heat news, trade rumors, post-game reactions. And maybe I'll have to start sprinkling in a lot of these live streams since we got a lot of people in here. But I'll see y'all next time. Thank y'all for tuning in the comments and peace out, y'all.